In simple words, conduction is when the heat energy is passed from one particle of a material to the next particle. I'm sure you didn't understand. Let me explain you in detail. When water is being boiled, the material holding the water, in this case the metal vessel, gets heated. And as you may know, heat is directly proportional to kinetic energy, which means more the heat, more the kinetic energy. So when the heat source is turned on, it heats the metal, which causes vibrations and makes the particles nearest to the metal move very fast, which pushes another particles. And with this continuous process, the water is boiled. And yes, this was conduction. In simple words, convection is when the heat energy is carried away by the particles of the material changing position. Let's understand this. To understand this, first let's revise a small geography topic, which is convectional rainfall. What happens in this is, when the surface gets warmed by the sun's heat, the air particles near it gets warm too. And as you know, warm air always rises above cold air, just like less dense substance rises over higher dense material. As it rises above, it cools down, and the cold air below it gets less hotter than the above one. So then it rises above, and yes, this is a continuous process. Now let's come back to physics. When the vessel gets hot, it makes the particles near it warm too, which rises above and rises up. The cooled particles comes down. Now from the heat, the cooled particles gets warm, and it again rises over the first one, and this process keeps continuing until you turn off the heat source. One very important point to remember in this is, convection only occurs in liquids and gases. It cannot occur in solids, as its particles are tightly packed, so it cannot move at all. Radiation is nothing but infrared electromagnetic waves. Let's understand this too. When you keep your hands near the walls of the vessels, it feels hot. Ever wondered how? Yes, it's actually radiation. See, when the water is heated and conduction and convection are taking place, one more energy pops out from there, which is an infrared electromagnetic rays, which is nothing but radiation. Now, if you have understood it very well, answer this question. Why do we use foil paper to wrap our food rather than something else? For example, paper. Think and tell. Yes, the amount of energy, which is also known as emissivity rate. So, the emissivity rate of foil is negligible, which means almost zero. So, it doesn't allow any radiation to go out and stores the radiation in, which keeps the food hot for much time. Next time when you use a foil paper, you will know how it keeps the food inside it hot. All objects radiate infrared waves, but the hotter the object, the more infrared energy it produces.